I hope I don't sound dramatic, but I think I may have had heart attacks.
Sham Uddin, also known as Shamsuddin. Effectively, this guy could be my next MP. What lit your fire?
Israel is one of the most racist countries in the world. So, because I said that, the bar standard said, well, we'll investigate you. Rabina Khan has no chance of winning.
Why?
She has stood before and she has lost. Mayor Lutfur Rahman should be an inspiration for our community. You know, you heard about his story, what happened to him, he lost it, but he still came back because of his care and passion for the community. It's not about the money, it's about your passion. Brother, I am happy for the Israelis to make me a target. I am happy for the regulators to make me a target. I'm happy for any corrupt regime to make me a target. Because if I'm a target, there are people behind me who are not targets.
But before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, supporters and well-wishers, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates us to keep edging forward episode by episode. And inshallah, with you by our side, we will make something incredible of Side by Side. Now, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Sham Uddin. So you moved into Tower Hamlets. So what you're saying, you moved into Tower Hamlets before this whole ambition for...
And let me tell you why I moved into Tower Hamlets. Last year, I was staying in Seven Kings in Ilford, and I started this 3 months trial in Southwark Crown Court in April 2023. And on the second day of the trial, I just had a little bit of symptoms on my arms, not anything serious, I wouldn't say. And then one of my friends came to Seven Kings to collect me for us to go to a restaurant in Brick Lane. And as he was driving me, we went through Mile End Road and I saw the Royal London Hospital. And I said to him, I call him Nana. And I said, Nana, you know what? Just drop me off here. Brick Lane is just down the road. I'm going to walk down to the restaurant. Let me just get myself checked out. A few minutes, I'll be in and out and I'll see you there in a bit. He goes, all right then, I'll go down then, I'll tell him you're on the way and then I'll drop you here. So I went into the hospital and there was a receptionist. I remember the event to this date, and there was like a young Bangladeshi woman there in reception. And I said to her, you know what, sister, I hope I don't sound dramatic, but I think I may have had heart attack symptoms when I was in court today. I don't have it now, but I just want somebody to check me out because I'm in this 3 months trial. The word just came out of my mouth, you know. I don't know why I said it, but I don't know why I thought it, but I did think it was something like that. So she said, don't worry, sit here and I'll get a nurse to come and check you out. And so nurse came. I'm luckily, casualty was not busy. So a nurse came and then she took me in for, the initial checks. And I told her I'm a lawyer, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And she goes, don't worry about it. It could be indigestion. It could be something. I'll get you checked out, and we're not very busy, so you'll be okay. So another 10 minutes later, another nurse came, took me to another room and did what is called an ECG. Said, oh, don't worry about it. Let's just check us out. And doing that ECG, she saw something she didn't like. So she went running to the doctor and said, look, and I'm fit at that time, nothing, no problems. So doctor comes running and she goes, Sham, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, oh, come to this room next door. So I go in the room, they put me in a couch, doctor on one side, nurse on the other side, and my heart fails there and then.
Wow, that is not incredible, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
But I have what is called, I had what is called VF arrest. When you have a VF arrest, that's a complete failure of your heart, and you only have 3 minutes to survive. So about 20 minutes later, I wake up with an oxygen mask in my face. I've got blood coming out of my mouth, and I'm in an ambulance. I go, what am I doing in an ambulance? I was in hospital. And they go, no, you had a heart attack. We've revived you, but we're now driving. One of the ambulance drivers, have you ever been driven 100 miles an hour in an ambulance? I said, no. He said, we're driving you to St. Bart's. They drove me 100 miles an hour to St. Bart's. Outside St. Bart's, there's doctors and nurses waiting literally outside. They pulled me in and put a stent, and the rest is history. So from that day, I felt a sense of belonging to Whitechapel and the Royal London Hospital. And then while I was in hospital, again, it's all, plans are made for you by Allah, and sometimes you look at it. And then what happened was, whilst I was in hospital, a place came up for auction near the Royal London Hospital. So obviously, after I came out of the hospital, the bidding or the auction date came up, and I was bidding from home because I couldn't travel. And the price guide, and I didn't think I'd get it for the amount, and I got it for £175,000 less than the market value.
Amazing. Fantastic.
So anyway, it's a 3-bedroom flat, and I moved, and I said to my wife, you know what? I don't know. Something is telling me that I belong here.
Wow.
I'm sorry if it's a long-winded comedy story, but anyway.
It's a very. I mean,
emotional stories.
I did follow your journey on LinkedIn, and you have been sharing your progress. And I was quite shocked actually when I saw. I was like, "Is it real? Let me just double check."
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of people thought I may be joking because, because I'm a fun-loving guy.
Yeah.
But then obviously I put picture. I mean, I was so shocked with the amount of support. That particular post went nearly to 1 million views and about 60 to 70,000 likes, and people were commenting. That just shows, even I appreciate on social media, people say, there are faceless people, but there are real people out there. And obviously my story...
There's more real people on LinkedIn than other platforms, I must say.
Well, that may be the case. Yeah, you may be right, of course, and because they are professionals, they say, but I've actually found, nice people in other platforms as well.
Yeah.
But my story resonated with them because it could happen to anybody. But not only that, it's the words and the, compassionate way that people had communicated with me. Some send me messages. But when people saw me, they said, well, I can't believe you had a heart attack. And even now, they said, I don't look like a person that had a heart attack, they say. And before I had the heart attack, I was fit as well. So it could happen to anybody.
Wow. How old are you?
Do you want me to really tell you that?
Yeah, why not?
Well,
just to put things into perspective about the heart attack situation.
I am not shy. Well, obviously, I'm 53 now.
Wow, you look young for 53.
Thank you. And then when I had the heart attack, I was 51, I think.
Wow, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, because 52. I'm going. Yeah, it was April 23 last year. I had my heart attack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you've recovered.
You lose track of your age.
I think on purpose. You don't want to know. So, do you have a fitness regime now?
Well, after my heart attack, the doctor said to me, "You've got to do physiotherapy, etc., etc." They gave me a course. They told me to go, and guess what? They cancelled it because I didn't go because I was too busy with my work.
Wow, I mean,
but my diet has changed though. My diet has changed. I don't take fatty food. I've taken sugar out of my diet. I mean, like for example, if I go out for a curry, I would take the meat out of the sauce.
You just have the meat itself.
Yeah.
So what would you say is a good regime to just? I mean, you can't avoid the inevitable. It can happen. Only Allah knows who it's going to happen to. Is there something that we can do as people to just avoid? I mean, just do our part to avoid the heart attack or strokes.
It's very difficult.
I mean, strokes is different, isn't it?
No. Stroke and heart attack, they stem from the same lifestyle and same symptoms. And let me tell you why I say that. Because when I had my heart attack, what they feared that... So for example, what I had could have led to a stroke. If it led to a stroke, then I could have been disabled. My speech could have gone mentally, whatever. Because when the blood flow stops, if the blood stops to your heart muscles die. And if your blood stops to your head, then your brain muscles die. So if your brain muscles die, your cognitive ability lowers. But I was so lucky that it didn't affect my brain. But what it did was, and I was also lucky You cannot, well, look, there's no better place to have a heart attack. I totally accept that. But I had it in front of a doctor. How many people could say I had it with a doctor on one side, nurse, and how? And somebody took me there. Allah took me there. You know, and normally, you see, if I'm going out for a curry or a meal, I would be hungry, and all I want to do is go there, have some poppadoms, and have my starters. But on this particular day, because I'm a foodie, I love my food.
You're a foodie.
And I know you've seen my stuff, haven't you? And on this particular day, I don't know why. I just said, no, I'm going to. And my nana who was with me, he said, no, Nati, you know, come with me. I mean, you know, we'll go to the restaurant. Then I will go to the. I said, no, on this occasion. And he didn't really, to be fair to him, he didn't push me.
Wow,
when I
subhanallah,
said, but it's because had I not seen the sign for the Royal London Hospital at that moment in time, I would have said, let's go to the restaurant. And you know, a lot of the time you've heard where people go to sleep with symptoms and they die. That could have happened. So I survived. You know.
MashaAllah, may Allah give you a long hayat and long life. And inshallah, I hope we all die in good condition.
Of course.
Now, let's talk about politics. So,
yes.
I mean, we've spoken a lot about your early life. I mean, normally we go a bit more in depth with other guests because we want to know who they really are. I mean, I think we've got a gist of who Sham is by now.
Well, I put the emotional gauntlet down already.
Let's get the emotional side out of the way.
Let's go back to real life.
Well, let's talk about politics. Now, when did you know that you might... I mean, you have been in politics before. The politics is not new to you.
No, politics isn't new to me. But obviously, a lot of the time, you know, people come in and out of politics, okay? You would come into politics for a particular reason and then stay. Or you'll come to politics for a particular reason, achieve what you want to do, and then bring others into it. And then encourage other people and mentor other people. But politics is one thing. Something lights your fire and you feel you need to burn it. And so
what lit your fire?
Well, again, you would have seen in the social media posts that I've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years, and this is not, for me, a new thing. Israel's treatment of the Palestinians is not new. As you know, about 4 years ago, I'm a barrister, as you know, barrister at law. And as a barrister at law, your professional life, as well as your personal life, in certain respect, is regulated by them. So there are things that, you know, ordinary, if you're not a barrister, you could do, nobody could do anything to you. However, if you're a barrister, your personal life also has to be disciplined, if I can just put it in those ways. Anyway, so cutting a long story short, about 4 years ago, I received a letter from the Bar Standards Board, first time in my life, saying, we're investigating you about your conduct. And I thought, you know what, I've never done anything wrong, I don't know, you know. And then then they said, look, we'll write to you. And then they wrote to me and they said, the reason we're investigating you is because I had done a post on LinkedIn. And I said that in my opinion, Israel, now this is going back to 2020, mind you. No, in fact, the post was done in 2019. The investigation started in 2020. So again, it's nothing new. And I'll come to, you know, whether what the topic of the moment at the moment. But so then in 2020, all of a sudden, somebody sent them the post. Said, look, and what I said was, Israel is one of the most racist countries in the world. And Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to rewrite history by trying to blame an imam from Palestine for exterminating the Jews, and he's trying to absolve liability on Hitler, because we all know Hitler was responsible, you know, and what happened to the Jewish people was horrendous, you know, it was genocide. So, but Mr. Netanyahu on TV, on broadcast, on newspapers said that, and what he was trying to do, he was trying to sow distrust and say to the Western media, no, look, it's the Palestinians who are responsible, in essence, for the genocide on the Jews. So in order to justify what they are going to do or what they would, and I think this was a pretext to what they're doing now. Anyway, so because I said that, the bar standard said, well, we want to investigate you. Anyway, cutting long story short, they investigated me about 6-7 months, and then I was exonerated by a panel.
What's exonerated?
The case was dismissed.
Okay.
Says I have done nothing wrong, etc., etc. And I made my submissions, etc. And they were actually investigating me during COVID time, in lockdown. The whole country's in lockdown, and they're investigating me. Anyway, after they had investigated me, I then issued proceedings against them. I said, no, you can't just get away with investigating me. I've done nothing wrong, and you put me through this. So I then issued proceedings against the Bar Standards Board. And cutting a long story short, we settled out of court. And the terms of our settlement is confidential. But suffice to say that when I embarked on my litigation against the Bar Standards Board, I put it up on social media, and people from around the world contributed to my, although the defense fund, as I say, or the litigation fund, people contributed from around the world to my fund. And obviously when the settlement was reached, the money that I got, I sent it to the Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital and Birmingham Children's Hospital, 2 hospitals close to my heart. So, I contributed everything that I had received from people. And because I just put it on social media, I said, look, you could give me from 1 pence to whatever amount you want to do. The only reason I'm asking you, because I would like you to be part of this litigation. And you would have seen this. And I said, I'm not doing this for myself. I am doing it for the children who are studying at school now and have aspiration of becoming a barrister. I don't want what's happened to me to happen to them. So that was in 2020. And then obviously Israel again attacked Palestine, and you've had all these issues. And then obviously I've been demonstrating, and it's close to my heart because of the fact that I felt even more closer after being investigated because of that.
So did you stand as a Lib Dem councillor after this or before this?
No, this was all before. So my politics was over. So basically what happened was this. The first time I stood was in 2010 against the Labour Party, and the reason I had stood is because of the Labour Party's invasion of Iraq. Do you remember? It was in 2010 that the Labour Party were kicked out. It was the Labour Party that invaded Iraq. We all know that.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, do you remember, in 2010, they were kicked out and the Lib Dems went in, and also the Lib Dems went in with a coalition of the Conservative government. But then the Lib Dems reneged on their manifesto pledge, which was that they would abolish student loans. I don't know if you remember that. So obviously that they reneged. They went to the coalition with the Conservative Party, etc., etc. And then obviously a few years later, I left the Lib Dems, and that was the end of that. But I've never stood as an MP because at that point was, I didn't, there wasn't an issue that I could. And the only reason I'm standing now is because, now again, I ask everybody, look at the chronology. This is not contrived, okay? I buy my place in June 2023. I had my heart attack in April 2023 in the Royal London Hospital. And in the constituency where I had my heart attack, where I survived, where I bought my house to live in, and where I want to make my life from here on, the MP for that area is asked to vote for a ceasefire. All they ask. The constituency didn't ask, give us houses, give us food, give us shelter. All they said, vote for a ceasefire in Palestine. Whether or not it's symbolic, whether or not it's theoretical, whether it'll have an effect, but the fact of the matter is the constituency were asking for that. And she didn't vote, as you know.
No, she didn't.
So that is the reason why. And then what then happened was this. In December, and again, 2023 in December, during the Christmas period, I was walking down, I said to everybody, I'll announce it as to, if I'm going to stand, and let me see what my health condition is. When I spoke to my doctor, the doctor said, your heart condition is back to more or less normal. So I was at the hospital. So I came out of the hospital after my checkup.
When did you come out of hospital, and when did the doctor say you're good to go?
December. And so you'll see on LinkedIn, there's a video during the Christmas week outside Royal London Hospital after my checkup.
Yeah.
And I said, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, back in October, I said I may be standing against Rashanara Ali, the incumbent MP in the constituency, because at that time it was Bethnal Green and Bow, remember?
Yeah.
Anyway, but by December they had decided it's going to be Bethnal Green and Stepney. So I then made a video, and that video is there. And again, everything I say, you could fact check, as they say. And I said, I will be standing whenever the election is called. Now, we all assumed, well, I assumed anyway, the election will be called in October.
But why do you need to wait for the election to be called? Why could you not just start campaigning like the rest? Rabina Khan and Kazi Akunjee. He's been around for a while.
Well, let me tell you, that's what I started to campaign. Guess when I started to campaign? December. Mr. Akunjee will tell you, even in social media and Twitter, they say, I accept that you had declared that you will stand before everybody. Have a look at it. Look at his Twitter page.
Okay, we'll have a look.
But not only that, in December, when I had declared, I put a donation page up for my campaign. In December, you will see PayPal. Within a week, I received hundreds of pounds of donation. Again, that's in December. All right? So tell me then, when did the other candidates declare? But again, I'm not here to say who declared first, who declared. Look, first of all, once you declare yourself as a candidate, people will go and fact check anything you say. That's number one. Number two, as a candidate, I cannot be dishonest, right? Because it is a
Isn't that what normally politicians do, though?
Well, people say that, but not necessarily, and I'll come to that in a moment. And then both as a lawyer or as a professional person who's regulated, again, I cannot be dishonest, all right? So therefore, anything I say has to stand up to the light. And if you shine a light on what I'm saying, you will see that I did. But the other problem with their argument is this, okay? Look, we live in a democratic country, all right? Everyone has a right to stand. Everyone has a right to vote, okay? And why should Rabina Khan stand aside for me? But Rabina Khan, I'm not going to tell her to stand aside for me. But what I will say is Rabina Khan's supporters not to vote for her and to vote for me.
Why?
Let me tell you, because Rabina Khan has no chance of winning. I'll tell you why she has no chance of winning. She has stood before and she has lost. Her party's policy is a mirror image of the Labour Party's policy. What Keir Starmer said about Israel's right to attack the Palestinians and the right to deprive them of, their leader said exactly the same thing. So if you vote for Rabina Khan, you might as well vote for the Labour Party because they are the same side of the coin. Don't take my word for it. Ask the Lib Dems. Let me tell you something else. And again, this is not confidential. Last year, in April, before I started this, about 3 weeks before, I represented 2 councillors in Birmingham who had won the election, Lib Dems councillors who had won the election, and the Labour Party was challenging the elections. Anyway, cutting long story short, we won that case against the Labour Party and their candidates, their councillorship remained. However, that barrister, Ayub Khan, is my friend. Ayub Khan was a long-term councillor for the Lib Dems and he still is a councillor. When he wanted to, he then made some videos on TikTok about the Palestinians' plight, about the aggression by Israel. The Lib Dems launched an investigation against him. I represented him on that occasion, and we succeeded in getting the dismissal. And what the Lib Dems wanted him to do is to go on an anti-Semitic course, all for saying and supporting, in his own way, the Palestinian people. But then, when the election was called, he said, I would like to stand on behalf of the Lib Dems. They made demands of him. And he said no. And demands were, as a result of him having to go on anti-Semitic course, I am told, and other things. And he says, no, I'd rather not stand for you. So he's now standing as an independent candidate. So if a long-term councillor from the Lib Dems has left the party, you have to ask yourself why, and you also have the evidence. So now can you tell me, if Rabina Khan's party is treating one of the councillors, a barrister at law, in that way for supporting the Palestinian people, do you think Rabina Khan is going to be able to support the Palestinians in the way I as an independent can?
I don't think anyone can, to be honest.
The Palestinian people?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because ultimately you are going to be part of that government, and yes, you may vote, and which is commendable, which is what the constituents want. But ultimately,
how am I going to be part of the government? I'm not part of. I'm not part of Labour.
You will be a member of Parliament, aren't you?
Well, if I am elected, I'll be a member of Parliament, but I will not be part. If the Labour Party go in, I will not be a part of their government because I'm opposing them. If the Conservatives go in, I will not be part of their government because I'm not standing as a Conservative. If the Lib Dems go in, I'm not going to be part of the government because I'm not standing as a Lib Dems. I am standing as an independent candidate. And therefore, when I stand as an independent candidate, I would be shouting the manifesto that I have been standing on. And that is a direct opposite to the Lib Dems, to the Conservatives, and definitely to the Labour Party.
What about Ajmal Masroor?
Well,
I mean, it seems as though, like, we are forgetting the actual cause. I mean, everyone is talking about the cause, but by standing, are we not dividing?
Well, hold on for a second. People ask that question, and people have the right to ask that question. But then people, when they ask that question, they should obviously hear out what the candidates have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm here to do.
Well, let me answer the question. Ajmal Masroor is not the panacea of the Palestinian cause. Mr. Ajmal Masroor has the right to stand in a democratic country. I don't tell him to stand down. But what I do say to his supporters, don't vote him because he has no chance of succeeding. Let me tell you why. Ajmal Masroor and Rabina Khan were in the same party. Do you accept that?
Yes.
Both of them lost against Roshanara Ali previously. Do you accept that?
That was before.
No.
Before.
I'll come to before and after in a moment.
Yeah.
I'll come to before and after in a moment.
At that time, yes,
whatever.
they did. Yeah.
But two people from the same, forget me out of the equation for one moment.
Yeah.
Do you think Rabina Khan's supporters will vote for Ajmal Masroor? No. Do you think Ajmal Masroor's supporters will vote for Rabina Khan? Because if two people are opposite each other as a result of whatever the reason it is, all right? Now you're saying those were before. The point of the matter is this. When people of both sides, hold on. So say, for example, because their constituents or their voters are from one pool. Mm-hmm. You have to accept that, don't you?
Yeah.
Because if you've come from the same party and you have garnered support from the same area, you're from the same pool. All right. So so the people who are splitting the votes is not Sham Uddin, it's Rabina Khan and Ajmal Masroor, because you have a pool of supporters who've voted for your party, and now that you've split, your voters are going to split. There's your answer. They are the splitters, and I am the unifier because I am the only candidate that does not come with a baggage of being in the same party as Ajmal Masroor and Rabina Khan.
Neither did Tasnime Akunjee.
Well, hold on for a second. Mr.
You made a comment about him that it almost felt like, he was pushed aside or something, and he stepped down and he moved on and something.
I made a
like
comment.
this.
Well, let me tell you.
On one of your TikTok videos.
No. Let me tell you what I said, and because whatever I said is in there. This is what I said, all right? And Mr. Akunjee then on Twitter said, I didn't even understand what he said, because he must have a debate with me. Because do you recall Mr. Akunjee saying, and the video's there, he said, I've had a very productive meeting with Ajmal Masood, words to that effect. One of us will be standing or something like that. Do you remember?
Yeah.
But we'll go through a selection process.
Yeah.
Do you remember that or not?
Yes.
Am I making it up?
No, I've seen that video.
If you go through a selection process, all right? If you go through, let's just speak English and plain English.
Yeah.
If you go through a selection process, right? And if one of you comes out of that selection process, what is the definition? One is selected, yes?
Yes.
And the other one is
Not
deselected.
Yes.
Yeah? So I said in a video, look, many people have been, et cetera, the video. But, and I said exactly what I said to you here today, is Ajmal Masood and Rabina Khan cannot succeed because their voters will not support either, blah, blah, blah. However, when Mr. Akunjee was deselected, this is the word I used, okay? I'm happy for him to sue me for defamation if I'm defamed him in any way. Because my friend who's in this room sitting here, we were at a restaurant, all right? And he said to us that he did not get selected, and there were criteria by whatever community members they did. So did you hear the same thing as me, that he went through a selection process?
So what do you think happened?
No,
What happened?
I don't know, brother.
How was it selected? What was the selection process?
I don't know. You got to bring Mr. Akunjee here. Look.
Do you not know? I mean, I'm sure you would have some information.
Well, I had based on the information I had, I said he was deselected. Yeah.
By who?
Deselected by whatever selection process. All right. He was deselected by the process. That's as far as.
Okay, that's very vague. Process.
No,
people want to know who this process is.
Let me tell you. I don't know. I wasn't there. Aslam. If I was there, yeah, I was not there. You're laughing with my Bengali, but I'm saying Aslam. But let me tell you this. This is one of the most intriguing part of this election campaign. Who done it? It's like we have to get a detective from somewhere.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a Bengali.
No, leave the Bengali side of it. Every community has politics, so don't worry about that. It's not a Bengali issue, and I don't know why people make it a Bengali issue. It's not. Politics is politics, wherever you go. But let me just pause there for a moment, okay? Some people say there was a coin toss. You heard that as well.
I've heard some rumors.
Some people say he was selected. You've heard that as well. And some people said he stood down voluntarily.
Yeah.
Have you heard that as well?
Yeah.
But why doesn't Mr. Akunjee come out and say, and now, and that's another thing. Have you heard in any social media that Mr. Akunjee says, now that I have stood down, I support Mr. Ajmal Masood? Have you heard him say that?
He said everyone should vote.
No. Did he say vote for Ajmal Masood?
He said, I'm sure I've seen something where he said, like, you should vote. Now that I'm not standing.
Who did he say vote for?
Ajmal Masood, isn't it?
Okay, well, are you sure about that?
I'm surely okay, I've seen something like that.
Fine. Right. If he has said that is his democratic right to ask. But
isn't it a moral right as well?
No, morally, why would it be moral? Because I've just told you before, Mr. Masood is not the panacea, okay? What do I tell my supporters who think, right, I'm the only person out of those candidates is able to beat Russian? Are you doubting me? You have no evidence to doubt me. Where's the evidence? Where is the evidence that Mr. Masood has the capability or the support to vote? How do you know if Rabina Khan stood down that all of her voters will go to Ajmal Masood? Where's the evidence for that? There's no evidence. Everybody's guessing. And to victimize people in that way is totally undemocratic. There are hostilities.
So who was victimized?
No. If you go to a candidate and you say to that candidate, look, because of you, you're splitting the vote. Yeah? No.
But the cause is the Palestinian cause, isn't it? So we should put ourselves aside, no?
So why do you say, okay, you've heard my story.
Like, you think Ajmal Masood isn't going to win because they're splitting their own votes?
No, there could be other reasons. But let me just ask you this one simple question. if I had declared that I'm going to stand in December, and the evidence is there, even Mr. Akunjee admits it, even everybody knows that I was going to. Do you know that I said I'm going to stand, or is it the first time you've heard I'm going to stand?
I've seen something outside a hospital.
Yeah, when? December.
Quite a while ago.
December. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like a lawyer and cross-examine you. But
No,
December,
go ahead.
Okay, in December, yes? January.
Okay, something like
February.
this.
Before March. Yes?
Okay, yes. Definitely before March.
Definitely before May.
Yeah.
Okay, there's my lawyer bit coming out. All right, just pause there for a moment. And where do you live? You are a voter in Stepney Green, yes?
Yeah.
You are in the constituency of Bethnal Green and Stepney.
Yes.
Do you accept that?
Yes.
Do you think that if there was a selection process whereby Mr. Akunjee and Mr. Ajmal Masroor were asked to attend, that I should have been invited?
Hey guys, I hope you have been enjoying today's episode of Side by Side with myself, Kazi Shafiqur Rahman, as your host, and our guest, Sham Uddin, the prospective Member of Parliament for Bethnal Green and Stepney constituency. If you have been enjoying this episode so far, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates us to keep edging forward episode by episode. And inshallah, with you by our side, we will make something incredible. Now, with that said, let's get straight back into the show. Why were you not invited?
Precisely. If I was invited and I had put myself to the process and I did not get selected, everybody is entitled to say to me, Bhai Saab, you were deselected. Why are you standing against Ajmal Masroor? Can anybody say that to me? Have you heard anywhere in the community anybody saying that Sham Uddin went to the selection process and he got rejected and now he's standing? Have you heard that?
Have you, as a barrister, as a lawyer, have you challenged
Yes.
that secret committee?
No, because how could you challenge a committee that doesn't exist in that sense? So, for example,
I mean, we've seen the press releases. We know there's some existence.
Listen to me. Tomorrow, I could gather 2 people and we could say, I'm a committee. That doesn't make me
Is that why you're saying that happened?
No, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying I could call myself a committee. Where is the legitimacy? But even notwithstanding the legitimacy, I have said, and I have a witness, all right? I have said to them, look, if you're saying that you didn't know I was going to stand or you forgot about me, let's have another selection process. Show me that it's fair and give me the assurance that any candidates that puts themselves up for it, and if they get deselected, they will stand down. Give me those 2, because I will give you that. I will give you that assurance that if I am deselected, I will stand down. Guess what? They never took me on that offer. Do you know why they didn't took me on that offer?
Maybe they didn't know that you were standing.
No,
maybe the committee coalition or whoever that is.
No, you're not listening to me. This was done after Mr. Akunjee sat down. So Mr. Akunjee was in the same table as me. He sat next to me, and even Mr. Akunjee said, yes, if you want, and to be fair to him, this is what he said. He says, look, if you want Sham to stand aside, then you need to invite him to the selection process. And then, if it's a fair selection process, then Sham should stand down. And if it's a fair selection and he gets elected, then everybody should support him. He said that. Ask him. Guess what? It's been over a week now. They haven't come back to me. Do you know why they didn't come back to me? Because I am confident, beyond confident, that if I go before any selection process, guess who they will select? It's me, because I have a lot more to offer in my view. And not only that, I also know the voters, once they hear me, once they see me, once they see the other candidates, they think, and they will think, I'm the only candidate that has the credibility to win.
But yeah, we don't have time. What are we? We're on what date today? 13th.
We're on the 13th, and it's less than a month.
Yes.
What do you want me to do? What would you like me to do?
I don't know. You're late to the parties, isn't it? That's what it seems like in terms of the public people's recognition.
No, wait for a second. Yesterday,
Akunjee has been active.
No.
He's been doing his stuff.
Okay.
He has been appearing, showing up.
Hold on. Have you seen me demonstrating on Mile End Road and Whitechapel out and the Barclays Bank back in January? If people don't want to see what I've done, you know what they say? Do you know who is more blind than the real blind person?
The one who doesn't want to see?
Of course. The person who cannot hear more than the person who cannot biologically hear is the person who doesn't want to hear. What do you want me to do? Look, I'm not here to tell any candidates to step down, all right? What I'm here to do is go over their head, talk to their supporter and say, look, these people did not succeed, all right? They will not succeed. You cannot vote for Lib Dems and then say, you cannot vote for and then say, oh, but the Lib Dems have a different policy. No, the Lib Dems have the same policy as the Conservatives and the same policy as the Labour Party when it comes to Israel and Palestine. That is my opinion.
Yeah, so imagine in the selection committee, whoever they are, I hope they show themselves up one day.
Do you know who they are?
No, I don't know.
Okay, you are a prominent podcaster. You have interviewed renowned people. If you don't know, coming from Bethnal Green, my brother, then how am I supposed to know?
Me. No, you're supposed to know because you are a prospective candidate.
I know. But
I'm just a normal podcaster. I'm just a normal guy.
I should know where Brick Lane is. That's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
I should know where the Royal London Hospital is. Okay? I should know who the opposition party is, yes?
And you should know who is also working behind you.
Yes. No. It's very difficult to know who are working behind you. It's very easy to know people who are working in front of you. How do you know? How are you going to know who's working behind you? Come on.
So look, imagine it wasn't Masroor and it was Akunjee instead that was selected. What would your argument be then? Like the Lib Dem argument is put aside.
No, my argument will be exactly the same. And this is what I've said. What quality that I have, that Mr. Akunjee has, or what
you are both lawyers, for one thing for sure.
No, that may be the case. But again, if you've got two people, all right, look, being famous on Twitter, right, is not a qualification to stand as an MP.
And singing beautifully isn't either, is it?
Well, no, hold on, but I'm not. I haven't sat in front of you as a singer.
No, I know.
No, I know.
But you're talking about him being a Twitter expert.
No. That was an example. I'm just saying to you.
And I'm just giving an example too.
That's good. So basically, I did a post. Okay, about 2 years ago, went to 1.5 million. But I don't sit here and say, look, I have a post that's gone 1.5 million, therefore I'm a guy. No, I should only qualify as a candidate if you, A, see the fire in my belly, B, you think I've got the communication skills, and C, you think I'm a man of principle that could go in and do. And also, you say late to the party. I wasn't late to the party. I was early to the party. Back in 2020, was investigated for, and again, it's documented. None of them could say that. I spoke out in 2020, all right? I didn't speak out when they invaded and killed thousands and thousands of people in October. You know that, all right? And again, I'm glad that you're interviewing me because you've seen my social media history. And I also know, as a competent and very good podcaster, you wouldn't be sitting in front of me without doing research on me. So you've done your research on me, and because you would have corrected me. So no, Sham, what are you saying? The last time I saw you, the first time I saw you saying anything was 2 days ago, but you can't even say that. Yeah.
What's your understanding? I mean, what do you understand of your audience so far?
You won't believe this. Okay, let me tell you this. Okay. Yesterday, I went to a meeting. There was about 150 people there. The day before, I went to door. Do you know what they said? Bye, we know you, we've seen it, we've seen you on social media. The other day, a guy came up to me and says, brother, and that's one of the things that I think upset Mr. Akunjee. They said, look, we don't know why Mr. Akunjee got deselected, but we're voting for you. Yeah, so therefore, that's them. So what I say, therefore, is if Mr. Akunjee's voters are feeling like that, and they would not, because obviously there's going to be some resentment, isn't there, towards Mr. Ajmal Masroor by Akunjee. Mr. Akunjee.
No, I think they're quite calm.
Okay, well then you've spoken to every single one of them.
They're very respectful. I mean, I've spoken to Akunjee, I've spoken to Masroor on, I think last episode it was Ajmal Masroor. So,
well, I can't speak, but I can't speak for them, but I could only speak for the people who've approached me. But again, look,
can we say
until the vote is cast, right? No vote is guaranteed. Okay. Now the point of the matter is this. Okay, no candidate has the right to tell another candidate to stand down. All right. No voter has the right to tell another candidate. However, every candidate has the right to canvass for vote. You accept that, don't you?
I do, but at the same time, everyone is the primary pitch.
Where's the guarantee that Mr. Masroor will
primary
win?
pitch.
Where is your guarantee that so where is your guarantee that if there wasn't Rabina Khan and if there wasn't me, that Mr. Masroor will win? Tell me, where's the guarantee?
I mean, there is no guarantee.
Of course.
It's the people that decide ultimately.
How do you know? That's what do you say?
It's the people that decide.
Of course.
Yes.
How do you know that the people, when they see, right, the game in town is Sham Uddin, right? The guy who sat in front of you, looked you in the eye and said, I am competent. I have got the credibility. I don't have the baggage like the other candidates. And I do not come from a party where I'm standing against my ex-colleague. Can they say that about me? No,
I mean, the only fresh person that was there, it was Akunjee.
Well,
you come from Lib Dem as
why did he stand down? No, hold on for a second. No, wait for a second.
Maybe he didn't.
No.
Maybe he didn't.
What?
Maybe he didn't stand down.
Well, I don't know, but look, if he didn't stand down, he got deselected then, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm not here to talk about other candidates.
What I'm here to talk about is the objective, the cause, the primary pitch, which is Palestine. And if by dividing all these votes, we end up, letting Labour win.
Are you saying, hold on for a second. That is no, Labour will not win if people don't vote for Rashanara. Now, if people say to themselves look, I did not vote for Mr. Masroor previously, and I'm not prepared to vote for him again. What are you going to do then? Because last time he stood...
last time,
wait for a second. Last time he stood, he got 5,000 votes. You look at the records, yeah? Now, do you say, okay, again, look, I'm not here to diss any candidate. You go and
absolutely.
do your... I have the greatest of respect for Rabina Khan. I've met her on the road the other day. We actually, spoke, had a long, cordial chat. I haven't met Mr. Masroor. I'm pretty sure he's a pleasant guy, and I'm very sure he's a man of integrity. But what I'm also very confident is this, that I am a better candidate than him, and I'm a better candidate than Rabina Khan. I am confident in that.
Okay, look, for a moment, let's park the Palestine issue aside for a moment.
Yes.
I'm asking you as a constituent now.
Yes.
What are you going to do for us?
Right. I have put a number of manifesto commitment, unlike the other candidates. So one is the Palestine issue. Let's leave that to one side, as you say, very rightly. The other one that I'm very, very passionate about is I want more social housing as well as more affordable housing in this area. There is a vast migration of the people who have been brought up in Tower Hamlets because they cannot afford the houses. So they're moving away to places like Romford, Essex, and other places because the cost of living is high, but the housing cost is even higher. So I have said that has to be a priority, okay? So more affordable and social housing, I put that on my list. The other thing that I've put on my list is this. We have a lot of breakup of families. And if you want to see your grandchild or your child, you don't automatically get legal aid. So you have to borrow the money, or you have to remortgage your house, or you have to go and represent yourself. I said everyone should get legal aid regardless of their income to fight a case regarding their child. And not only just parents, grandparents, because we have a lot of extended family. Sometimes a child is more closer with their grandparents than with their own parents because parents go out to work and the grandparents look after them. And when there's a breakup, that grandparents, they can't do anything and they're just like suffering, and the child suffers as well. So therefore, they should get legal aid in order to fight that. The other manifesto commitment that I've had as well is this. Currently, it could take 3, 4, 5 years for a child dispute to be sorted out. Now, if a child is 2 years of age when the dispute starts, and it takes 6 years for that dispute to finish, that child has seen dispute and friction and may not have even seen one of the parents or grandparents want to see for most of his life. And he forgets and moves on. And psychologically that affects, because we all know, to be grounded, it's not always, but, it's always good to have links with your extended family, links with your parents. So again, my commitment is that any children family proceedings has to complete within 12 months. It is possible. I've done cases that are finished in 12 months. You just need a vigorous judicial system that does it. The other two, if I could very briefly say to you, is this. We've seen recently where professionals like teachers, dentists, doctors, lawyers, accountants, brokers, mortgage brokers are being disciplined by their regulatory bodies for criticizing Israel. You've seen that. They just have to propose. Yesterday, a judge got disciplined for liking one of my posts. I don't know if you know that. One of my posts, a judge got disciplined for liking one of my posts about Palestine. I'm not going to mention the name of the judge. Go and look it up. That's how popular I am in that sense.
No, you are quite popular on LinkedIn.
Thank you for that. But, so what I'm saying is, if any regulatory body maliciously investigates a professional who's regulated, then those people should be subject to criminal liability, because we don't want to take them to court and get damages. We want them to be liable criminally. And lastly, I've been in the legal system for a long time. The vast majority of judges and judicial officers are fair and make decisions without prejudice. But there are some. And what I want is this: if a judge or a judicial or office holder makes a decision and it can be shown that that decision was done with a malice or prejudice, they shouldn't just get disciplined and lose their job or their pension or just get, a warning. They should be criminally liable. Because what that then does is it gives a people a sanction that they will think twice before deciding a case based on prejudice or investigating based on prejudice. And you may say, well, how could you as an independent MP do that without belonging to a party? No, it is possible. An independent MP can bring in private members' bill. So if you've got lobby groups who are able to lobby MPs, don't you think an MP who's inside has more lobbying power than a lobby group that lobbies MPs?
Or could it be the opposite? You might have more opposition because of
why would I
who
get
you are and how, your objectives.
Okay, why would I get more opposition? Because I'm not asking.
You've been disciplined by this, the regulatory
No, I've been
body
disciplined, I've been investigated.
Yeah, and so do you not think they're going to make your life a living hell?
Well, look, I'm happy for that. Do you know why? Because they cannot make I am prepared to put my head above the parapet. When people put their head above the parapet, they don't do it for themselves. They do it for others. So I'm happy for other people to keep their head below the parapet. I'm happy for my head to be a target. Martyr. I know it's a strong word, but a democratic martyr in that sense. So why? Then if that's the case, when my investigation, when my case was over, when my heart attack was over, what's the easiest thing for me to do? Go home, relax, and sunbathe in the garden if I want to. Why do I need to do this? Again, monetary value, and I'm not here to, show off on wealth. Look, an MP's salary is about 100,000, whatever it is. A lot of the barristers, solicitors, business people, who go into politics, they actually take a reduction in their income to go. That's why you don't get many people going into. But you do get career politician. For them, it's an increase in salary, or income. But for people who are already in business or professions, it's actually, but again, so why would you not do that? If you're passionate about the community, you have to take it's not about the money, it's about your passion. So I hope I've answered the question, because your question is very simple, which is, are you not going to be a target? Brother, I am happy for the Israelis to make me a target. I am happy for the regulators to make me a target. I'm happy for any corrupt regime to make me a target. Because if I'm a target, that means there are people behind me who are not targets.
Well, there's, mashallah. I mean, it's good. It's good. Now, the housing, isn't that under the local council? How are you going to influence that?
No, it isn't. Because it isn't under, because you've seen and heard the Conservatives created the levelling up. No. Housing around the areas are also being built by central government. It's not all, it is not all local government. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Mayor Lutfur, I've seen for myself, he has done a lot for the community in Tower Hamlets. I've seen it. And actually, again, don't take my word for this. Over a year ago, before the Palestinian issue arose, before I even decided to stand in Tower Hamlets, I put a post on social media, and it's there if you want to say, I said, Mayor Lutfur Rahman should be an inspiration for our community. You heard about his story, what happened to him, he lost it, but he still came back. Why did he come? He didn't have to, but he came back because of his care and passion for the community. I mean, lot of the projects or the policies that Mayor Lutfur is implementing, other people are copying. You know that, don't you? Sadiq Khan is copying him.
Yeah.
All right? So he is a leader. And regardless of what people say, I have the greatest respect for his resilience and the way, but I have seen one thing with Mayor Lutfur. He is there for the community. And that's why he got voted in again, because people know when they see.
People have this, people have seen what's true and what's false and what's right and what's wrong.
I'm not standing for his party. So I have no reason.
You could have, right? Or they're not interested.
No. I haven't even broached that subject with them. No, because I've always said I'm going to be independent. Okay. All right? Because if I'm independent, so for example, as an independent person, when I say that I respect Mayor Lutfur Rahman, I respect his policies, that has more credibility than if I said I'm from his party because I know and I'm being genuine about it. And not only that, this is not contrived. Over a year ago, I said that. And at that time, no political issues in this area was. Who knew that if Roshanara Ali had voted for the ceasefire, I would not be standing here today.
So, this is one of the last questions, I promise, because
you asked us.
Before I come back to this family support, family law support, legal support that you spoke about, imagine there is a bill that you have to, support gay, lesbian movement. What would your stance be? As a Muslim, as a Bangladeshi,
For me, it's very simple, all right? If I am voted by a constituency, I would do my own referendum within the constituency, and I will go with the majority.
So you are there to represent us.
100%.
So what are you going to say to those people that are still thinking, you know what, I don't want to waste my vote. Might as well go with Labour. Because it's interesting how we behave towards the end when it comes to the election time, the actual polling day. How are you going to sway them to not vote for Labour?
Well, I'll tell you why I'm going to sway them not vote for Labour. People who came to my meeting yesterday, the people who came to my meeting the week before, the people have gone, they were Labour supporters. It is the Labour supporters who are saying we don't want this candidate, i.e. Roshanara Ali. It is the Labour supporters who are saying we want Sham Uddin. Okay? The Lib Dem supporters are saying we want Rabina Khan. And the Admal Masroor supporters are saying, well, we voted for him before, might not vote for him now, but I might vote for him again because he's Admal Masroor, because he's my friend or whatever it is. But when they vote for me, they are voting A, against the Labour Party, B, they are voting for my policies, C, they are voting for me because they know that they want to suck it to the Labour Party and say to them, don't take our vote for granted. Now, it may be a protest vote. It may be a vote, but it's a vote to tell Keir Starmer, this cannot carry on. And not only that, Keir Starmer has disciplined, or his party has disciplined, Diane Abbott. His party has disciplined Mr. Corbyn. But in the same token, he's accepted one of the most right-wing MPs from the Conservative Party. You know that, don't you?
Who is that?
Well, have a look at it. Even the Labour Party were protesting of him accepting her. The other day, the unions walked out from a meeting with Keir Starmer because he was watering down workers' rights. Don't take my word for it. Go and have a look at it. So when the Labour Party is trying to get the Conservative votes and they're trying to tell the Conservative Party, look, we are the Conservatives, why would you want to vote for a party that is by name is Labour, but by action is Conservative?
So how many votes do you need to win?
I need more votes than the other candidates.
Which is roughly what?
I need more votes than the second candidate.
Which is roughly?
Well, it depends how many people turn out.
What did Roshanara Ali get last time to win?
Well, I think last time to win, but there is a difference now. Okay, and I'll come to. I think she got about 25,000 or 20, or whatever it was, and before that she got about 34,000. There's a difference now, and the difference is this: Bow has been taken away from the constituency. There were more Labour supporters in Bow. Shadwell has been brought in to the constituency. There are more independent-minded voters in Shadwell. Guess who lost in the mayoral election? The Labour Party. Guess who won?
Independent.
So are there more independent-minded in the constituency? Of course.
So now we have two independents.
No, let me finish. Guess who lost? Other than Mr. Briggs, guess who lost against Mayor Lutfur Rahman, who is standing in this election against me? Rabina Khan. Did she lose against Mayor Lutfur Rahman?
Yeah.
Guess which other candidate has lost against Mayor Lutfur Rahman's party? Ajmal Masroor. Pathway. Yes or no? Or am I giving you wrong information? So, at the forthcoming election, the people and the nice people, the welcoming people of Tower Hamlets, which means Bethnal Green and Stepney, have a choice. A person who did not vote for a ceasefire, which allowed, in my opinion, Israel to perpetrate genocide against Palestinian people, and two losers. Okay? Don't vote. If you do the same thing over and over again, guess what happens? You get the same result.
Yes.
So these are, I'm not saying they're losers. People are saying they're losers. Go and do a research. I'm the winner.
You're saying you're the winner, but we'll have to see what people say if you're the winner or not.
Of course. But the point of the matter is, at the starting block, when you have runners and riders, all right, what do you have? You have two losers, one that supports, in essence, Israel, along with a party, and you've got a guy in me called Sham Uddin, who hasn't stood against the good work that Mayor Lutfur Rahman has done, who has criticized Israel well before this election 4 years ago, who's been investigated, and his career was on the line. My career, do you know my career was on the line for defending the people of Palestine? Which other candidate could say that their career was on the line? No one, brother. And you know what? I don't have to say this because you know this. You're the evidence. I'll call you as a witness.
Oh, mashallah. I mean, you have a lot of walking to do until the 4th.
The election
you have to go around to...
Well, can I tell you? The election started about 3 weeks ago, if that. I already have bought 2 new pairs of shoes.
That's
That's how much walking I did. But you know what thing? It's wonderful. And in a converse way, that's what my doctors recommended that I should do after my heart attack.
So win-win.
Yes. So I'm saving the NHS on going for physiotherapy at the hospital, but I'm doing it in my constituency.
Look, one other thing that I wanted to,
Of
inshallah,
course.
we'll finish. We're really running out of time.
You
have a very lavish. You live.
Am I the longest? Am I the longest?
No. Yesterday we had a guest. My God, we had a good conversation.
Okay, good.
And inshallah,
right.
I think you'll like watching this one as well. It's coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
So you have a lavish lifestyle. I mean, does that resonate with the constituents?
What do you mean lavish style?
Private jets?
No, I don't have a private jet. I was taken by a client. The reason, can I tell you about the private jet? Right. I'm the son of an immigrant. My dad worked in a factory. All right. We lived in a council house. All right. We grew up from the bottom up. Okay. We went to the local mosques. We went to the local school. Didn't go to private school.
Mm-hmm.
Now you say about private jet. The reason I went on a private jet was this. After my heart attack, I was told I couldn't go on airplanes. And this particular client wanted me to go for a meeting. And I said, look, my doctor said, well, I'll send you a private jet. So I went on a private jet. Now, obviously, I don't have a private jet, but I've been on a private jet. I'm not, and I think you should be proud. The son of an immigrant who's been brought up in Aston, who's been able to sit and talk to you about his experience, both as a lawyer and the fact that he's still in the, you know what the difference between Aston and Tower Hamlets is? There is no difference.
Nothing. I was going to say that.
And the other good thing is you go down on Tower Hamlets. You know, like yesterday I went in, I was campaigning, and like I went to one tea shop to another tea shop, and then they took me to this underground, and there's all these young men playing crown board. They took me in. Look at social media. They were clapping me. They said, Baisab, you've come midnight to see us. Have a look at the videos. You know.
Are you going to come at midnight when you have become an MP?
Can I tell you something else? As a lawyer, go down Brick Lane, go down to some of the restaurant and say, look, in the last 20 years, my friend who's sitting here, one of the person gave testimony, he says, 20 years I've known Shambai. I was the person who brought him to London. If I called him at midnight, he answered the phone. One day, I got a call to come to London for a case, emergency. I drove here, okay? So if I haven't been available, I know I could be available. Maybe that's the reason.
But then that's going to be kind of conflicting with your day job as a lawyer. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to leave that?
Of course you have to, because you cannot, as an MP, it's a full-time job. I've already told you, you take a reduction in your income. If, for example, I continued my barrister's practice as well as my MP job, then I would be making extra money. But it's not possible to do that.
Possible.
You know it's not possible.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you've got to do, and I'm very committed to this, is you have to hold a surgery. And I'm happy to hold a surgery, because I think what I bring to this constituency is my legal experience, my legal knowledge. So when you go to your MP, then normally, if they're not legally qualified, and not only that, there are some MPs who have been appointed by their respective party. They are corporate lawyers. They cannot resonate with your person on the street. Somebody could come to me, I could resonate with them on any aspect, on housing, on drug issues, on housing issues, on benefits issues, because those are the matters I dealt with day in, day out.
Wow. I mean, that's good. I hope you will answer my call as well if I'm in trouble.
Well, I will definitely answer your call. And one of the reasons I couldn't come to your interviews previously is because I was answering the call of the community on more helping them rather than helping myself to promote myself.
The family, the family legal aid support. One thing interesting that you mentioned was grandparents wanting to see the see the Nattinosha.
Yeah.
Not many people know that they have such rights.
They do have. See, that's the thing. Did Rabina Khan and Adnan Masroor go to, because look, it's not just about Palestine. What I bring to this election is those kind of issues that people have the right. Not only grandparents have it, uncles and aunts have it as well.
So you, the husband and wife, parents, you put your issues aside. That's not my problem. I want to see my grandchildren.
Absolutely. Not many people do that. I have acted for grandparents. I have been able to get grandparents to see their grandchildren. Can you imagine the trauma a child suffers when they cannot see their grandparents? Because under the Children Act, it's not what's in the interest of the parents, it's what's in the interest of the child.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you know that?
Generally, I know that's the rule of thumb.
But did you know that grandparents?
I didn't know. I knew there was rights for grandparents.
But I want to go to Parliament and I want to raise a voice and I want to say a grandparent who's on pension doesn't have the income to instruct lawyers in order to fight a case. Now somebody said to me, "Well, why don't you do all of them now?" Look, I can't do with every single case.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I mean, any claims,
people say that just to whatever.
Yeah, any claims you make, you have to substantiate. In court, you can't just say, "Oh, this social media said this and that social media." I mean, you have to come with evidence.
There may be a conflict of interest, me active. But if you've got a legal aid system, any lawyer could act.
Yeah. Now, does that have to be passed through a policy or
it's
within the parliament?
It's very simple, because what happens is this: you lobby and you do a private member's bill. Which MP is going to vote against my private member's bill? No MP at the moment has the gut to bring it in because their party won't allow it. But once you put it on the table, which MP is going to say, "I voted against grandparents having rights to fight a case under legal aid"? Which MP is going to say that? So I will bring in such policies that I know those people will be ashamed to vote. And this is what we're going to do. Name and shame. You vote against a policy, next time you will have an independent candidate standing against you. So I will bring so much policies to reflect and to benefit the community. The community will say, "Well, I'm not really caring about you come from a party. I'm caring about what you did on the last occasion. When Sham Uddin, MP for Bethnal Green and Stepney, put in a private member's bill for grandparents to see or parents to have legal aid, you voted against it. And as a result of which, I am now having to remortgage my house and I can't put roof on over my children's head because you did not allow me to have legal aid to fight a case."
Wonderful. And I wish you all the very best. But before I end, is it too much to ask for you to sing?
Yes, it is, because at the moment, during the election campaign...
You're not allowed to sing?
Well, I will do another show. Once I win, we'll have a party and I'll sing then.
You sang a song, Balagha Lola. It was beautiful. I was thinking, is it voiceover?
No, I'm not gonna. It's definitely voiceover because there are a lot of technicalities. You'll know. You could go into recordings.
So you record it first and then you sing it.
Well, there are other things I won't go into, but it wasn't my voice, so I could tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll let you in the secrets.
Okay, inshallah. Shambai, thank you very much for coming in. And
honestly, it's a pleasure. Thank you for listening to me.
It's a pleasure. My pleasure is mine as well. And like I said, I wish you all the best, and the voters will decide. And that's it for today on Side by Side. I hope you have enjoyed our conversation with Sham Uddin, who is the prospective Member of Parliament for Bethnal Green and Stepney constituency. Comment below if Sham has your vote of confidence, and of course share it with your family and friends, and don't forget to subscribe onto the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates us to keep edging forward episode by episode, and inshallah, with you by our side, we will make something incredible out of Side by Side. With that said, I will see you on our next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.